Hi, and welcome to Science with Mrs. Stone from Advancing Science at Gettysburg College. Today I'm going to show you how to use the compound microscope. You should have a chart that looks like this, and so you can follow along with me as we go over the main parts of the microscope. At the back here we have the arm of the microscope, and this is the base. You can see the plugs in right on the back side, and there's also a power switch right next to the plug. So you can turn that on, and you'll know it's turned on when you see the light coming from the bottom right here. There's also a little dimmer switch over on the base, on this other side of the base here. It's a little red dial, and you can use that to either increase or decrease the light. I like to work with my light a little bit dimmer. If your eyes start hurting while you're working with microscope, you may have your light up too bright, so you can always turn that down. Up here at the top we have our eyepieces, or our oculars, and this type of microscope is called a binocular because it has two oculars, or two eyepieces, for us to look through. You should use both of your eyes to look down through the microscope, but sometimes that can be a little hard when you're first learning to use the microscope. So if you're not able to work with both eyes open, you can go ahead and close or cover up one eye while you're working. And as you get more practice with the microscope, you can start to try and use both of your eyes open at the same time. So our ocular, or eyepiece, magnify our image by 10 times. We look down through the tube here, and then our next spot is the revolving nose piece. That's right here. And it's called the revolving nose piece because it does spin, and there are 3 objective lenses on here. These are also help to magnify our image. So we have magnification here in our ocular, or eyepiece, and we also have magnification here in our objective lenses. And as you rotate the revolving nose piece, you can hear it click when it clicks into place. So make sure that you hear that click so that you know it's in place properly. We always want to begin with the red line objective. That's the shortest one, and it has a little red line around the bottom. If you look at the bottom of it, it will say 4x, which tells you how many times this objective magnifies. So if we're looking down through our oculars, which magnify at 10 times, and then down through our red line objective, which magnifies at 4 times, 10 times 4 equals 40, so that means we are looking at the object 40 times larger than it actually is. As you rotate your way up through the objectives, our next one, the yellow line, is 10x. 10 times 10 is 100. So if we're using the yellow line objective, we're magnifying our image by 100 times. And then lastly, you can rotate to our 40x objective, which is the blue line. 10 times 40 is 400. So if we're using the blue line objective, we're looking at our image at 400 times larger. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it back to our scanning power, or our red line objective. That's always where we should get started with our microscope, and always how we should store it. Our next part down is this black stage right here, and the stage is where we will place our microscope slide to be able to take a look at. On the side of the stage, right up here, there's a little set of clips. You can pinch them open, it will open up the clips, and then that's where you're going to put your microscope slide. Looks like this, and we'll take a closer look at this in a few minutes. On the side of the stage is a little stick. Those are our mechanical stage controls. On the mechanical stage controls, there are 2 sets of knobs. The top knob rotates the stage back and forth. The bottom knob doesn't actually move the stage, but it just moves those clips that are on top of the stage, and it moves the clips from side to side. So we can use these mechanical stage controls to make sure what we want to see is centered over the light that's coming right up through the center of your stage. Right down below the microscope stage is our light source. It's coming up from the bottom, so it will shine up through the slide that we want to take a look at. Over here on our arm, we have 2 sets of knobs. The knob that's closest to the body of the microscope is called the coarse adjustment. We're going to rotate that to bring our image into focus. The smaller knob that's on the outside edge is called the fine adjustment, and that allows us to really tweak that image to really bring it into crisp, clear focus. So we always start with the coarse adjustment to start getting things into focus, and then we finish with the fine adjustment to make it look real nice. So let's go ahead and get started with our slide. Our slide looks like this, and they always have a label on one side to tell you what it is that you're looking at here. This is what we call a prepared slide, which means that a company made this and they took some sort of microscopic item, maybe it's a plant, maybe it's an animal, maybe it's a non-living thing, and they put it underneath this little glass circle right here. So there's something there for us to look at, but it is microscopic, so we do need this tool, this microscope, in order to be able to see it. Now notice when I'm holding the slide, I'm not putting my fingers on this area of the glass where the thing that we're going to look at is. I don't want to get fingerprints on that. So we're always going to hold it over here by the label. Now you'll want to open up your stage clips. Those are those pinchers that are on top of the stage. Open up those stage clips, put your slide on the stage, and just slide it right back and release the stage clips so that it pinches the slide right in place. Now you need to make sure that your slide is centered. Remember, the light is coming up here from the bottom and shining right up through the center. So you want to make sure that whatever's underneath that little circle on our prepared slide is lined up so the light is shining straight through it. So I'll use my mechanical stage controls to do that. I might need to rotate it forward and backwards, and I might also need to go side to side. Okay. Once that's nice and centered, now I'm ready to start working with the coarse and fine adjustment knobs. So I'm going to look down through the eyepiece, through the oculars, and I put my hand on the coarse adjustment. Again, that's the one that's nearest to the body of the microscope. And as I look down through there, I'll go ahead and start rotating that coarse adjustment until I can start to see something in my microscope. Okay. And it'll probably start out really fuzzy, and you want it to become more and more clear. Once it looks pretty good for you, the next thing that you want to do is use the fine adjustment. That's that little knob on the outside edge, and you can use that fine adjustment to just tweak it a little bit, bring it into nice, crisp, clear focus. Once it looks good there, we can remind ourselves how many times larger is this image. Up here at the top, our oculars magnify by 10 times, and down here at the bottom, our scanning power objective magnifies by 4 times. 10 times 4 is 40. So we're looking at our image 40 times larger than it actually is. If I want to see it under even more magnification, now I can rotate my revolving nose piece. You heard that click? So my yellow line objective is now clicked into place. If I look at the bottom of it, this magnifies by 10x. 10 times 10 is 100. So this will allow me to see the object at 100 times larger than it actually is. Now, if you notice, the bottom of the objective is pretty close to our slide, so we have to be really careful about using our adjustment knobs now, because we don't want the pieces to crash together. That would probably damage the microscope. So now we only want to use this fine adjustment. That's that small knob that's on the outside edge. And I'm going to look back down through the microscope and use the fine adjustment to bring it into nice, crisp, clear focus. If I want to see it under even higher magnification, I can go ahead and rotate up to my blue line objective, which is the 40x. So 10 times 40 is 400, so this allows me to see the object at 400 times larger than it actually is. And once again, you'll notice that the objective, bottom of the objective, is really close to our stage, so we need to be very careful. And again, we are only using that fine adjustment that's over here on the outside edge, the one that's furthest away from the body of the microscope. Looking down through the eyepiece, you'll go ahead and use that fine adjustment to bring our object into clear focus. As you're working, if you get messed up, if it gets out of focus, the best thing to do is come back to the beginning. So rotate your revolving nose piece so that you have that red line objective back in the front and center. Get it into focus at this point, and then you can work your way back up into the higher levels of magnification. When you are done with looking at a slide, you'll want to use the coarse adjustment. That's the knob that's nearest to the body of the microscope. And you're going to go ahead and rotate it down so the stage comes down. Then I can open up my stage clips, remove my slide, and put it back into the box. When you're ready to store your microscopes and you're all through with them, make sure that the red line objective is front and center. Make sure that the stage is cranked as far down as you can get it. Power off your light, and then the microscope can be safely stored in its case. I hope you enjoy your activity today and enjoy seeing all of those magnified images of the different prepared slides that we've sent along for you.